Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Dewalt. I'm co-founder of Prolego, and today I am joined by Alex Cunliffe, one of our rock star data scientists here at Prolego. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
So today we want to talk a little bit about one of the recommendations we have from our data science career study, and I'll go ahead and share my screen so everyone can see what we're talking about. One of our top recommendations is that employers create a non-management career path for data scientists. And in my career, I think with every technology skill, this has always been kind of an issue where some software engineers just want to stay coders, or maybe they become architects and some become managers. But there's never really been a firm distinction. And I think these issues are even more magnified with data scientists because many people have come out of our research environment. In terms of the question we asked data scientists, how interested are you in pursuing career growth through a management path, e.g. managing a team of direct reports? And you can see the answers on your screen, but I would say less than half of the people just kind of eyeballing the chart here are very or extremely interested in management. And so as I look at this data, there's two things that jump out to me. One is that management is really hard, and it's a completely different skill set, as anybody who tries it will know. And you really don't want people going into that career path who are not at least very interested in doing it. And the second observation is that I think a lot of people that would answer this as someone interested are also probably not recognizing that there's another alternative, that they maybe work at a place where they don't see a non-management career path. So that's how I interpret this question and this data. What's your experience with this topic, Alex?
Yeah, so I think kind of over the course of my career working with others, I've definitely met some people who, from the start put themselves in the technical contributor only bucket and just knew right off the bat that management was not an area they were interested in. I think more often I tend to come across people who, we're all scientists and we say, well, I want to really try something out or experiment with it before I decide one way or another. And that was definitely my approach, where I wasn't quite sure if I was interested in management or not, but just through taking on some opportunities that were more related to management, things like project management, people mentorship, people management, I was able to eventually really firmly place myself in the non-management individual contributor only bucket.
It's really interesting to hear you say that, Alex, because it's just very clear from working with you that you have a natural aptitude to being a manager. Like, you're good at communicating and you're organized and you're a people person. I mean, you have all the attributes, except it's not what you really want to do. And so it's just, I think it's important for companies to recognize, just because somebody can do something, that be what they actually want to do.
Yeah, and I think, when I was trying to decide what my career path would look like, I really thought mostly about, all right, what days at my job are the days where I'm the happiest? And for me individually, days when I can just write code all day, or maybe learn a new technique and implement it successfully, like those are the days that stood out as being the happiest, best, most fulfilling days. And so for me, the way to be able to do that more is to be an individual contributor and stay technical.
Absolutely. And I guess the great thing about being a data scientist too is that you can just have such an outsized impact on what you do. I mean, if you create a model that saves a company tens of millions of dollars a year, just your single brain can have such a huge impact. And you don't really see that as much in traditional software engineering problems, where you can be a better software engineer, but that's maybe 2-3x on improvement over an existing option. Versus data scientist, you can change the world, and there's a really smart person. Well, that's a great answer, Alex. Along that note, like, what are some of the things that a company should consider doing when creating a non-management career path? Like, what are some of the considerations? What does that path look like? If I'm a manager watching this and I'm thinking, hey, this is interesting, how do I get started? What should I think of? Any recommendations or suggestions for that person?
Yeah, so I think there's really maybe two branches you can optimize along. And so the first is for the employees specifically, of course, you want to be investing in their own personal career growth, providing opportunities that are in their best interests and allow them to really stay involved. And then you also, on the other branch, think about, all right, how can I have my technical employees work most effectively within my organization and have my organization succeed through my technical employees. And so I think these are complementary goals, and the way to really simultaneously do both of these things is invest a lot in learning and development for technical employees. And so when I say learning, I mean, investing in technical learning, learning new skills, especially the field of data science. It moves very quickly, and the things you were doing a year ago can just be irrelevant today. So it's really important to allow technical employees to keep up with the newest things, contribute to new research in their specific area. Additionally, I think it's important to invest in adjacent areas for technical employees. And so adjacent areas are other technical skills, like if you have a data scientist looking at data management, engineering, model deployment, monitoring, all those kinds of things. You don't need them to be the expert in all of these areas. That's a really big ask, but at least understanding enough about those other areas to be able to communicate with engineering teams and kind of other folks who are involved. And then along those lines too, just because you're an individual contributor, technical employee, doesn't mean that the soft skills aren't important. So it's still, I think, critical for folks to learn about project management, communication, prioritization, all those kinds of things that maybe you think of as being more of a project management or a people management role. Those become critically important as you advance really in any role.
That's great, Alex. So I guess maybe a summary, I sort of heard you say three things. One is like getting deeper as a data scientist, like getting your depth of knowledge in that domain. The second one is getting wider in terms of understanding all of the other engineering domains around it that make a data science effective. And the third one is kind of the team effectiveness skills, maybe for lack of a better word, like being able to present, work with people. That's a great summarization, Alex. So if you kind of just maybe think about what does a career look like, maybe somebody coming right out of college versus somebody who's been working for 10 or 15 years, can you maybe like compare and contrast what the expectation should be? So if somebody was coming out of college right now, and you could probably have a decent idea what their skills are, and you're going to say, hey, this is where you could go in 15 years. What does that journey look like?
Yeah, so I think I'd say that, so in the technical area, probably your role in your day-to-day work can still stay relatively similar as you kind of move up the ladder. So it's not like you're taking on like a totally different job every time you advance. But I'd say that the bigger distinguisher is going to be around whether you are kind of focused more on executing things that are defined by others versus being the one to sort of define the way that you're going to do things, define the best execution methods, best practices. I think as you advance more and more, it's up to you to be the one to kind of pave the way, mentor others. I mean, it's still important to not lose sight of all of the kind of tedious tasks because those get to be yours too. But also,
it's like the bank. I guess I call it maybe the blank piece of paper problem. Like something coming right out of college, you say, hey, go figure out this solution there. They're going to have a hard time knowing what to do when they got a blank piece of paper versus someone like you, like, all right, this is awesome. I got a blank piece of paper, right? That's opportunity. That's like, I can go wherever. That's opportunity. It's not fear.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, with more time working somewhere, you just get more practice doing that to where it becomes exciting and not terrifying.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alex. Some great advice. And if anybody else wants a little bit more about data science careers, you can download the Data Science Workforce Study from Prolego.com. And as part of that, one of our freebies that go with it is the Data Science Career Ladder Report that's in a PDF. So thank you very much, Alex. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.